Hi, this is Steve at Resource Management Systems. In this Asset Placer video, we're going to take a look at firstly creating a new resource and then changing or editing the details of that resource. So as you can see, I'm logged into the asset-placer.co.uk website and I've gone to the Resource Management Area view screen. Down here I've got listed all of the resources that are currently registered within the Asset Placer system we've got set up here. To create my new resource, what I do is just click the new button. That will open up a pop-up or modal window for me to add the resource into Asset Placer. These items here, territory, code, resource type, first name and last time, these items with the red asterisks, those are mandatory fields that I have to enter before I can save the details. All of these other ones, email, telephone, address details, etc. Well, very useful for contacting my resource and for providing details on the payslip, etc. They aren't actually mandatory, so when I'm in a hurry, if I want to start assigning my new resource to placements, I can just enter the bare minimum and then come back and fill out these details at a later date. So I've got my territory selected for me, Hampshire. That's the territory I'm currently in. I'm just going to select a region of Portsmouth. The code is any alphanumeric value. You may well have a convention for this within your business. The convention that we use is the first three letters of the resource name followed by 3 digits. I'm creating a resource called Joe Blog, so I've just entered Joe001 here. Joe is a care worker, so I'm going to select care worker as my resource type. Then I'm going to enter in Joe's first name followed by his second name. And as I said, these items with the asterisks, that's the bare minimum I have to enter in order to save this, so I'm just going to click submit. Asset Placer is confirming for me that this record was saved successfully. I'm going to click OK, and here we can see Joe listed within the other resources on the resource management view grid. So to edit Joe's details, to add that additional information, what I'm going to do is tick the box on the left hand side and click edit. That will open up that same modal window that we had before to allow me to enter these details. Obviously I can enter Joe's email, and his telephone number, and all of the other information on this particular tab. We also have the facility to enter a picture, whether that's a picture of Joe as a person, a human resource, or whether that's a picture of the vehicle if you're in fleet management, or whatever your resource might be. You can optionally have a picture there. On the miscellaneous details tab, we have various other information, the resource's date of birth or gender, again if they're a human resource, whether that resource is a student, which comes into some of the rules that we have for invoicing and pay slips, where a student is only allowed to work a certain number of hours per week. You'll see that the student hours option is becoming enabled if the resource is a student. We'll cover that in more detail in other videos. The currency, website, driver's license, etc, etc, etc. The contact details are perhaps emergency contact details or alternative ways that we can contact Joe. Attachments may be, in this example where my resource is human, there could be a DBS check, a scan of a DBS check, a scan of their driving license, passport, etc. Other information which is associated with this resource that I want to retain and have easy access to. In the case where your business is, again, say fleet management or other non-human resource, perhaps you want to keep a track of warranties that the resource has, or services, or other information which is relevant to this specific resource. So an example of how to add an attachment, I'm going to firstly select the attachment type. In this case, I'm going to add Joe's driving license. I'm going to click Browse, which will open up a standard Windows file selection screen. I'm going to select my license or scan of the license. Then I'm going to click Add. That will then appear on the grid here for me to reference at a later date. The skill type tab is a way for you to create a list of any particular or unique skills that your resource have. With this being an example of providing resources to care homes, we've got various skills or qualifications, experiences that the resource might have. To add this to the list, let's say that Joe has had training in dealing with patients with dementia. We're going to select dementia as a skill type and click Add. That's going to add the skill to the grid there. Add another one, say he's had training with epilepsy. And I can just build up that list so that I've got a full profile of Joe's skills when I'm assigning him to placements. The last tab, Availability. This is a log of when Joe is typically available. Obviously, in an ideal world, we'd have all our resources available all the time, but perhaps Joe is partly employed elsewhere regularly. But here we can select when Joe is available for filling placements. We can get more granular than just saying that Joe is available, in that we can say that he's just available in the morning or in the afternoon on particular days. And when we start assigning Joe to placements, all of this information will impact on some of the prompts and messages that we get to say whether Joe is available or not. I'm going to add that to Joe's availability settings. So now when it comes to assigning Joe to placements, I'll be getting additional information from his setup. Again, I'm going to submit this to the Asset Placer database, and Asset Placer is prompting me that the record was saved successfully. I hope that you found this Asset Placer video useful, and I hope that you carry on getting the benefit of Asset Placer within your business.